Listen, son, you made an agreement you didn't even realize. To stay the same as long as life doesn't hurt. Every skipped task, every late start, every "I'll do it later," that's your signature on the contract of mediocrity. And today, you're tearing it up. Picture two versions of you waking up at 6 a.m. One rolls over, the other gets up. Same goals, same talent. But in 90 days, they'll be living completely different lives. The difference? One mastered discipline, the other waited for motivation. Neuroscientists say your brain loves patterns more than progress. That's why you keep looping. Start, stop, regret, repeat. The problem isn't your willpower, it's your wiring. But the good news? You can hack that system one small act of discipline at a time. You can't control the weather, the world, or the weight of your feelings, but you can control the next 60 seconds, and that's where discipline begins. Your brain doesn't care about greatness. It only cares about keeping you safe. Safe means lazy. Safe means average. That's the truth no one tells you. The same brain that helps you survive is the same one holding you hostage. It was built for caves and fire, not purpose and empire. It doesn't want you to evolve. It wants you to stay where it's warm, where it's predictable, where it doesn't have to work. That's why you hesitate when it's time to grind. That's why you scroll when it's time to build. That's why you overthink when it's time to act. Because your brain whispers comfort like a lullaby. It tells you you've done enough. It tells you you'll start tomorrow. It tells you rest now, you've earned it. But you haven't. You've just mistaken ease for peace. Understand this. Your mind is ancient. It's designed to keep you alive, not to make you exceptional. It rewards safety, not growth. It craves what's familiar, even if it's destroying you. That's why the man who wins in life is not the smartest, not the most talented. He's the one who learns to disobey his own instincts, the one who rewires his brain to serve him, not the other way around. Every day, you're at war with yourself. You just don't see it. The battlefield isn't out there. It's in your head. Every decision you make is a fight between the man you are and the man you could be. And the problem is most men never fight back. They surrender early. They surrender quietly. They live their entire lives obeying a mind that was never built for dominance. You tell yourself you want success, but your actions say otherwise. You say you want freedom, but you stay chained to habits that give you temporary pleasure and long-term pain. You say you want to be respected, but you refuse to do the things that earn respect. That's not because you're weak. It's because your brain is running the show. It's addicted to comfort, addicted to validation, addicted to the easy way out. But listen, son, comfort is not kindness. It's a cage. It doesn't protect you, it prevents you. The man who obeys comfort never leaves mediocrity. The man who challenges it becomes unstoppable. You think you're in control because you decide what to do, but it's your programming deciding for you. Every delay, every excuse, every moment of hesitation, it's all the same loop replaying in your head. I'll start tomorrow. I'll rest first. I'll do it when I'm ready. But you'll never be ready. Readiness is a lie your brain tells to buy more time. And here's the brutal truth. Time is the one thing you'll never get back. You're wasting it on comfort, feeding a system that wants you mediocre. You think the voice that says take it easy is compassion. No, it's resistance. It's fear pretending to be reason. Your brain has one job: survival. That's all it knows. It doesn't understand ambition. It doesn't care about legacy. It doesn't care about your dreams. It only cares that your heart is still beating.
But survival isn't living. Survival is existence without evolution, and that's not what you were built for. You were built to lead your mind, not follow it. You were built to command your body, not negotiate with it. You were built to disobey your comfort, not worship it. So stop trusting that voice in your head. It's not your friend. It's your first opponent. When it says stop, go harder. When it says rest, keep moving. When it says you've done enough, double it. That's how you break the system. That's how you teach your brain who's in charge. Because until your brain obeys you, you're not a man in control. You're just another slave to instinct, and the world has enough of those. The mission begins when you stop listening to your excuses and start commanding your own mind. So, son, your brain is not your ally. It's your battlefield, and the war starts now. Listen, son, you think your problem is laziness. It's not. Your real enemy is efficiency. Your brain was designed to keep you alive, not to make you extraordinary. And that means it loves shortcuts, comfort, and predictability. It doesn't care about purpose. It cares about preservation. Every time you hit snooze, every time you scroll instead of study, every time you say tomorrow, your brain rewards you, not with success, but with dopamine, a quick chemical hit that says, good job avoiding pain. That's the trap. The brain's reward system is outdated. It still thinks avoiding discomfort means survival. But in the modern world, comfort is the new coffin. You chase that dopamine like a lab rat pressing a button for sugar water. Scroll, like, watch, repeat. And after the rush fades, guilt sets in. Not because you failed, but because deep down your mind knows you're betraying your potential. But it's addicted to the pattern. And addiction is nothing but loyalty to pain disguised as pleasure. Motivation is part of that same lie. It feels powerful, the rush, the music, the fire. But chemically, it's just another spike of dopamine, short-lived, unstable, dependent on mood and environment. That's why it dies the moment reality shows up. You can't build consistency on something that evaporates under pressure. Discipline, on the other hand, is chemical starvation. It's denying your brain the easy hit. It's silence in the middle of chaos. It's choosing the harder path until the brain rewires itself to see effort as safety. That's the science of transformation. You don't feel your way into greatness, you train your neurons to obey. The human mind runs on loops, patterns that repeat until they become identity. That's why most people never change. They say they want success, but every decision they make feeds the same habits that keep them small. Your brain keeps records. It notices what you tolerate, what you delay, what you avoid, and it builds a profile of the kind of man you are. Then it begins to act accordingly, automatically. That's the illusion of control. You think you're choosing, but your habits are. Every choice is just a reflection of previous conditioning. Every decision is a rerun of old data. Your life is just the playback of the last program you installed. That's why you can't lead a mind that doesn't respect your command. Your brain is like a soldier gone rogue, powerful, trained, but loyal to comfort. It fires only when it believes you're in danger, not when you're chasing purpose. That's why you procrastinate on what matters most and move instantly when pleasure calls. Try this. Open your Notes app to start a project. Silence, no spark. But open social media, boom, instant energy. It's not weakness, it's wiring. Your brain has learned to associate easy with reward and effort with threat. That's why you flinch when it's time to work. That's why you negotiate with yourself every morning like a hostage. You know what needs to be done, but the mind whispers just 5 more minutes. It's not laziness, it's your survival system fighting modernization. Every comfort you chase reinforces the enemy's control. You skip the gym once, the brain remembers. It marks that avoidance as a win. Next time, the resistance doubles. You delay a goal once, the brain interprets that as safety. Next time, it will force you to delay again. That's not random, that's conditioning. The brain operates like a smart algorithm. It tracks patterns. If you avoid pressure often enough, it filters pressure out of your identity. It stops even presenting it as an option. You don't see opportunity anymore, you see exhaustion. You don't see discipline, you see punishment. That's how men become trapped in invisible prisons, not because they lack power, but because their programming rejects it.
When you understand this, you stop blaming motivation. You realize the game isn't emotional, it's electrical. The same brain that betrays you can be retrained, but it won't listen to words, it listens to repetition. You have to show it again and again that you're in charge. Consistency is the only language the brain respects. And here's the cruel part. In the beginning, it will fight back. You'll feel tired, restless, unfocused. That's withdrawal. You're starving the brain of easy dopamine and feeding it discipline instead. It will panic, it will protest, it will scream for comfort. Ignore it, let it burn. That's how you rewire it, by letting the weaker impulses die of starvation. You're not supposed to feel like it. That's the test. You're supposed to act without permission. Every time you move when your mind says stop, you build neural dominance. Every time you do the work when the motivation is gone, you carve new pathways in the brain, ones that obey command, not craving. This is the battlefield most men never cross. They want control without combat. They want obedience without opposition. But the brain doesn't yield to wishes, it yields to war. The pain you feel when you resist temptation isn't suffering. It's the sound of your old self breaking down. Repetition is your weapon. Wake up at the same time. Do the hard task first. Refuse to negotiate. Repeat until your brain understands that effort is non-negotiable. That's how you override its primitive settings. That's how you shift from reaction to regulation. You are not supposed to befriend your mind. You are supposed to lead it. You are the commander. It is the soldier. If it disobeys, you correct it, not with anger, but with order, until your thoughts march in formation, until hesitation becomes impossible, until obedience becomes instinct. That's the point where transformation begins, not when you feel different, but when you respond differently. That's the moment your mind stops betraying you. That's when the brain stops being a master and becomes a tool. Because only then can you trust yourself under pressure. Only then can you command your life with precision. And remember this, the brain will always test you. It will whisper weakness in moments of fatigue. It will resurrect old habits when you least expect it. But if you've trained long enough, your response will be immediate, automatic, absolute. You'll move without thinking, act without emotion, execute without delay. That's when you've won. Not when it's easy, but when it's yours. Because the goal was never to silence your brain. The goal was to make it obey. Until your brain obeys you, you will always live under its control. Listen, son, you've seen the enemy. You've seen how your brain betrays you, how it disguises weakness as comfort and fear as logic. Now it's time to take back control. Not with emotion, not with hype, with programming. You're not rebuilding a man. You're reprogramming a machine. Your brain is hardware, precise, predictable, programmable.
Pain isn't punishment, it's progress. It's the signal that new circuits are forming. It's your mind deleting weakness line by line. And boredom, that's the gateway to mastery. The men who win are the ones who can stay in the silence long enough to become unstoppable. The ones who no longer need music, applause, or adrenaline to move. The ones who move because movement is who they are. Listen, son, your emotions are not your compass. They are noise, static interference. They were built for survival, not success. When you feel tired, it doesn't mean stop. It means you're entering uncharted territory. When you feel bored, it doesn't mean quit. It means your brain is rewiring, adapting, strengthening. That's where greatness is built, not in excitement, but in emotional silence. You must learn to act without the permission of your feelings. You don't need to want to do it. You just do it. And over time, your brain learns. Obedience equals survival. You have to starve your weakness and feed your commands. Wake up at the same time every day. Do the work every day. Train your focus like a muscle. No debates, no negotiations, no second chances. You will not rise to your goals. You will sink to your systems. And if your systems are weak, your life will follow. Your environment must serve the mission. Every distraction must die. Every comfort must be questioned. If it doesn't build you, it breaks you. If it doesn't feed your purpose, it feeds your decay. You can't rewire your mind in a place that rewards your old self. So isolate, go silent, turn your world into a lab of control. Let your habits become ritual, deliberate, unbending, sacred. This is how men become machines, not robotic, ruthless, not emotionless, in control. Because control is freedom, and freedom comes only after the brain bends its knee to command. You are not supposed to wait until you feel ready. You are supposed to act until readiness becomes irrelevant.
The goal is not to feel ready, it's to act until your brain understands who's in charge. Listen, son, the time for understanding is over. Now, we build obedience. Not the kind that folds under emotion, the kind that operates like a weapon. You want to rewire your brain? Then you must become the system it obeys. You don't wake up when you feel like it. You wake up because you said so. No alarms on repeat, no 5 more minutes, no soft transitions into comfort. The moment your eyes open, the war begins, and the first battle is always the same: your comfort versus your command. Win that battle, and you set the tone for the entire day. Lose it, and you've surrendered before you've even stood up. The code is simple. Morning command: rise before the world does, before the noise, before the distractions, before your brain has time to resist. Silence is your ally. Stillness is your advantage. In that silence, you train your will, not through affirmation, but through action. You move before you think. You act before you feel. You strip your morning of negotiation until obedience becomes instinct. Every morning, repeat the ritual. Make your bed, cold water, stretch, silence, write, move. Do something that reminds your brain, I am here not to feel good. I am here to command. This ritual is not about success, it's about control. Every act of discipline is a reminder that you lead and your brain follows. Ritual before reason, discipline before desire. The order is everything.
Your mind wants to debate. It wants to weigh options, to justify, to seek permission. Kill that habit. You act first, think later. Reason is for strategy, not for survival. If you pause to negotiate with your emotions, you've already lost the battle. The weak man seeks logic for why he should move. The disciplined man moves, and logic follows. Delay every comfort. Make every pleasure earn its place. You don't touch your phone until work is done. You don't rest until output is complete. You don't eat junk because you deserve it. You don't deserve anything yet. You earn everything through effort. Comfort must be rationed, not rewarded freely. Every time you delay comfort, you sharpen control. Every time you deny yourself, you strengthen the chain of command. Reward only completion, never intention. Stop praising yourself for wanting to change. Stop applauding effort that produces nothing. The brain adapts to what you reinforce. If you reward half work, it will give you half results. The only reward is completion. When the work is done, the satisfaction is earned. And when satisfaction is earned, the brain associates obedience with reward. That's how loyalty is built, not through emotion, but through proof. Movement, silence, and consistency, those are your reprogramming tools. Movement builds momentum. Silence builds clarity. Consistency builds identity. You train your brain through repetition, not emotion. Show up every day, not loudly, but relentlessly. Work in silence until obedience becomes a reflex, until your mind no longer argues, it just executes. The modern man is drowning in noise. He needs validation, attention, stimulation. But the warrior, he thrives in silence.
He doesn't announce his mission, he lives it. He doesn't broadcast his pain, he buries it and builds through it. Silence is the weight room of self-mastery. Every time you choose silence over distraction, your focus sharpens. Every time you move without applause, your endurance grows. You are not supposed to enjoy discipline. You're supposed to become it. That's what separates the few from the many. Most men act only when inspired. The great ones act even when broken. That's obedience. That's control. That's freedom. Listen, son, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the strength of your systems. And your systems are built in the dark, in silence, in struggle, in repetition. Your goals are dreams. Your systems are proof. Dreams don't wake you up. Systems do. Dreams don't build legacy. Systems do. If your habits are weak, your future will collapse under their weight. So build systems that cannot be broken. Build obedience that doesn't need emotion. Because the man who has mastered his systems has already mastered himself. And the man who has mastered himself owns his world. Listen, son. This is the summit. The place every man claims he wants to reach, but where almost none arrive. Because to ascend isn't to feel inspired, it's to become unrecognizable, to erase softness, to silence comfort, to stop negotiating with the weaker version of yourself and finally take command. You've spent the previous chapters learning to kill emotion, to train discipline, to rewire your system from chaos to control. Now, you enter the phase where obedience becomes instinct, where hesitation dies before it even forms a thought, where your body moves before your brain debates. That's when you know you've crossed over.
Understand this. Your mind was never meant to lead. It was meant to serve. You are not your thoughts. You are the commander issuing orders. Your brain is a machine. It processes patterns. It obeys repetition. It becomes whatever you train it to become. If you feed it comfort, it will demand comfort. If you feed it chaos, it will find chaos. But if you feed it discipline, structure, pain, patience, control, it will become a fortress. Your mind learns obedience through repetition, not emotion, through doing, not feeling. Every morning you wake before the sun, you rewire it. Every time you delay a comfort, you strengthen it. Every time you act without motivation, you program dominance into its circuits. That's how men are built. That's how weakness dies. True power isn't about domination, it's about direction. The man who controls his impulses owns everything. Most men are slaves in expensive clothes, chained to their urges, mastered by hunger, drowned by pleasure. They think freedom means doing what they want. They're wrong. Freedom is doing what you must, even when every cell in your body begs you not to. That's control. That's power. That's ascension. Discipline is when the brain obeys the body, when thought becomes execution. You don't ask, "Do I feel like it?" You command, "Do it anyway." The disciplined man doesn't react to feelings, he replaces them with protocol. When chaos strikes, he doesn't panic. When pain comes, he doesn't flinch. He's calibrated, ruthless, precise. At this level, discipline stops being a burden. It becomes identity. You no longer fight the noise works for you. You move through the day like a machine, quiet, sharp, efficient. Your energy is controlled. Your words are measured. Your emotions are weapons, not weaknesses. You've trained your body to respond to command. You've taught your mind that resistance is irrelevant. This is how warriors are made. Not by emotion, not by hype, by structure, by repetition, by the cold, relentless pursuit of order. You've become your own general, and your life your battlefield. Weak men worship rest because they've never earned exhaustion. You, on the other hand, bleed for it. You rest not because you're tired, but because you've executed. You've hit every target, followed every order, fulfilled every demand of the code. Rest is no longer comfort, it's calibration. A brief silence before the next storm. And when it ends, you rise again, precise, focused, unstoppable. The undisciplined chase feeling. You chase alignment. You don't pray for motivation. You build momentum. You don't need inspiration. You operate on command. The man who conquers himself can't be ruled. You no longer fear opinions because you've stopped needing validation. You no longer chase purpose because you live it. You've mastered the only battlefield that matters, the one inside your skull. Everything after this point is maintenance, systems, routines, execution. The machine runs now, and when it falters, you recalibrate. You don't whine, you don't collapse, you return to the code. Because you've learned something most men never will. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the strength of your systems. And your system is unbreakable. So stand tall, breathe, lock in. You are no longer fighting the machine. You are the machine. Now move and never disobey yourself again. Listen, son. Your mind is a weapon, but only if it knows who its master is. You don't need motivation, you need command. Built different. Discipline, not motivation.